All right, welcome back. So we're going to talk for this mini lecture about the first Gulf War in American history. It's a conflict that, because of the forever wars, we have started to take a new look at, but it's one that I would say that Americans, we kind of appreciated it, kind of understood it a little bit when it was happening, but maybe not. We didn't really understand kind of the effects of it. So there's a lot to understand when it comes to the first Gulf War. So we're going to talk about 5 things that you need to know in order to really, again, start to read more, do more, that kind of thing. All right, so first off, Ba'ath Party, right? So the Iraqi sort of national political party, party of the state, party of Saddam and his family that brutalizes different groups within Iraq that they don't like, is called the Ba'ath Party. All right. So by the time you get to the end of the 80s, right, Saddam is fully entrenched as the leader of Iraq and is fully capable of brutalizing these groups. And the Ba'ath Party is kind of the political state and helping them to achieve that and that kind of thing. All right. Second, Saddam Hussein and Salahuddin. Saddam Hussein is the political leader of Iraq at the end of the 80s and will be the political leader of Iraq when the Second Iraq War begins, but when the first Gulf War starts. He is someone who, in the Mideast region, saw himself as kind of the return of Salahuddin. Now, Salahuddin was a medieval leader from the region who was integral in retaking the city of Jerusalem and was noted for his better treatment of crusaders and civilians and others, because crusading, bad, right? Third, Scud missiles. So the Gulf War wasn't the first war to kind of play out on CNN and TV, but it does so more than other conflicts, partly because the technology of the media coverage is better, and because the technology itself was better. So you had smart bombs, you had smart bombs that would take video footage before they would explode, that would upload them before it would explode. You would have this coverage of night vision attacks, right? This kind of thing that Americans and others around the world were gripped to. And there was this concern that the Iraqi military was going to launch these munitions, these missiles, these what are called Scud missiles, against the Americans or their allies. So that would be something to know. The fourth would be the 100-Hour War. So you're going to have a conflict before or leading up to the American and Allied invasion, because again, the United States isn't doing this by themselves. They have a number of allies that are going to be a part of this process. And the ground war, again, was 100 hours long. Fifth, yellow ribbons. So if you lived in America in the 80s and into the early 90s, there was still a legacy of the Vietnam War, still a holdover. You've got the Vietnam syndrome, this real sense of defeatism, right? So in the 80s, you had things like the U.S. invasion of Grenada, you had the U.S. invasion of Panama, and then again, you have this invasion in Desert Storm, and the real feeling was that the United States needed to kind of exorcise this Vietnam syndrome, that this defeatist mentality that we were in fact the superpower, this kind of thing. So it's an odd thing, the idea that we would need to invade a place to feel better about ourselves, but here we are. And one of the things that you saw in America was this cultural outpouring of support for the troops, but a real sort of one aimed at communities and particularly at children as a way of trying to promote patriotism and Americanization. So you saw a lot of yellow ribbons around trees and around by homes and this kind of thing, T-shirts, and this was supposed to signify, again, this unity and support for the American war effort. All right, thanks so much.